I'll do it for you. So just let me know, yeah.
You do. I need you every day in class.
Oh, I think I'm done with school.
Oh,
2 degrees in the MBA later, I think I'm done.
all right. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
All right. So, wait. Oh, no, you can't see me on this thing. Hold on. Sorry. Need to be able to see me. All right. Cool. All right.
Oh, no, it shifted. Wait, do you want to be in charge of it?
No, it's fine. It's
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, I'm Dr. Shanice Burton. I don't really like to do a whole spiel of credentials and all this extra stuff. I am a professor at Houston City College, which used to be HCC, which used to be Houston Community College, now it's Houston City College. So now we offer bachelor's programs. So they had to change what we do now. Anyway, I'm a psychology professor. I have been teaching psychology for the past 11 years, and I love it. I love it. Before that, I was a probation officer in criminal justice. And yeah, as you can imagine, that led to a lot of interesting things, which led to me wanting to know more about human behavior and why people do what they do. So before we get started, let's take a poll. How many of you know who Abraham Maslow is? Hands. Oh, I like that. I like that you have some idea. Hopefully I can give you something. Don't know. What about NBA YoungBoy? How many of you know who that is? Heard of him. All right. This is Abraham Maslow. This is NBA YoungBoy. Abraham Maslow was born in 1908 in New York City. He is a Jewish immigrant. Okay. He was born to parents who were escaping from, of course, the Holocaust and Nazi power, right? He grew up in a very, very, very depressing household. His mother was schizophrenic. She abused him. He took care of cats. She drowned the cats. Oh. Crazy, right? His dad would abuse him as well. He grew up in a very, very, very challenging household. Okay. So that's Abraham Maslow. This is NBA YoungBoy. Next one. Next one. NBA YoungBoy grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. How many of you know where that is? All right. Also, my family is from right down the street from there. Small town called Brancato, Louisiana, right next to Opelousas and Lafayette. So, NBA YoungBoy grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His mother was absent. We don't really know why. She was involved in other endeavors, things that maybe for young mothers, that's what she decided to do. His father was sentenced to 55 years in prison when NBA YoungBoy was born. Okay. So NBA YoungBoy went to live with his grandmother. He became very close to his grandmother. However, he lived in poverty. If you've ever been to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, then you will know that the poverty line there is pretty high, and the educational system there is also not great in Baton Rouge. I don't know about in other parts of Louisiana, but specifically there, right? So he ended up being a part of robberies, gangs, all types of stuff, trying to make a living to support studio time. He loved music, right? Can we go back to the slide for both of a picture of the both of them? Abraham Maslow escaped his reality of an abusive mother, schizophrenic mother, and abusive father by deciding to study about human behavior and why people did the things that they did, and wanting to know more about his potential in the world, and being persecuted, and why people hated Jewish people, and all of these different things, right? So we have two individuals that seem to be very, very far apart, but are very, very close. We can learn a lot from these two people because our differences is where we find our sameness. Okay. So 99 years apart, right? Let's go to the next slide. Abraham Maslow. At the height of Abraham Maslow's career, the best thing that he could have ever come up with was the hierarchy of needs. Has anybody ever seen this before?
Yes.
Yes, right? Very influential, right? What does this have to do with anything? It has everything to do with everything, right? Abraham Maslow believed that if at the very bottom of this triangle, physiological needs were met through food, water, warmth, rest, right? Then you could possibly win your ticket to the safety level. Now you can feel safe and secure, right? After that, if you have that, then you can move on to belonging and loving needs and have intimate relationships and friendships and all of that beautiful stuff, right? And if you're very, very, very lucky, you're the cream of the crop, you can move on to have esteem needs and a sense of career and prestige and accomplishment, right? And both of these individuals, NBA YoungBoy and Abraham Maslow, having grown up in the environments that they've grown up in, you can see where the dilemma to get to this place may have been. A lot of barriers, right?
Yes.
Poverty, right? Discrimination, right? Against Jewish people, discrimination against an African-American boy who was in trouble with an absent father and a single mother, right? That those things could have kept them from reaching what is called self-fulfillment and self-actualization, right? Which is where we reach our fullest potential. Abraham Maslow believed that everybody had in them the motivation and the aspiration to aspire to get here regardless of what was down here. However, we see in other countries and other places, how many of you traveled before?
Yes.
How many of you traveled to places where there's extreme poverty? Right? We see the barriers in these areas and we see why immigrants come here in order to get to self-actualization. I had a student today in one of my classes and she talked to me right before class and she said, Dr. Burton, I can't participate in class today. She said, can I go to the nurse? She was crying. And I said, what's going on? She says, my mom and my dad are on the phone and they are in the midst of being deported. Senior in high school, she may have siblings at home. She can't leave right now because this is the last period of class. So the least I could do is let her to go to the nurse's office to finish out her day and whatever that's going to look like. Her parents may not even get a chance to see her high school graduation. Yet a lot of people who are coming to where we are, opportunities, the land of opportunities, which is what America stands for, to have self-actualization, self-fulfillment, right? In other countries, same thing, Denmark, Finland, Norway, right? People go to these places for better opportunities. Abraham Maslow believed that we all had something in us that could drive us to be there, right? If we didn't have these barriers, right? We could see how someone who possibly grew up, let's say a really poor country, Haiti, there we go. We could see how someone from Haiti may never have the opportunity to reach their full potential because of barriers, no safety, no security. If you got to worry about running water and drinking water and what you're going to eat in the next hour or the next 10 minutes, you think you're worrying about your potential? You think you're worrying about who you're going to love and who's going to love you back? Absolutely not. The opportunities are limited for these people, right? Let's go on to the next slide. I don't mean to be morbid, but I'm bringing home a point. NBA stands for never broke again. Let's go back to NBA YoungBoy. Let's pick up his story, right? We pick up his story and he has gone to prison now, right? Not now, but when we pick him up at 16, he goes to prison and he does his music, right? He gets out, he goes back to prison. He gets pardoned by our current president. Yeah, our current president, he gets pardoned, right? Why he pardoned him? I don't know, maybe his kids listen to him. Who knows? Right? NBA YoungBoy's physiological needs were robbed from him because of where he grew up and because his grandmother passed away while he was in jail. Safety needs. He grew up wrestling. He broke his neck when he was 9 years old. So if you're ever wondering why NBA YoungBoy has a scar on the top of his head, it's because he got into an accident wrestling and he broke his neck. If you ever wonder why he's holding his head like this, right? Loving and belonging. NBA YoungBoy has 12 children right now.
Whoa.
And he is 24 years
Wow.
old. 12. Why does NBA YoungBoy have 12 children?
He doesn't fill us.
Loving and belonging. We can see the parallels between what we don't get and what we do in our life, right? He takes care of all his kids. They always go on tour with him. He loves every single one of them. Esteem needs. Here's a song titled Respect. And in that song, he is talking about how people need to learn how to respect him. Self-actualization. NBA's net worth right now is $60 million. I'm sorry, he's 26 years old. 12 kids. His mother, I read an article the other day when I did a little bit more research about his mother. His mother, who is now back present in his life, says, "My son has taught me what it means for a man to be a man and a man to be a father." That responsibility should not be on NBA YoungBoy. He never had the opportunity to even know what a father was, to even know what a man was supposed to be. And now you have to hear your mother say, "Now I'm looking to you as the example." Think about the amount of pressure that puts on a person, right? Can we go to the next slide? A quote by Abraham Maslow. And it's so funny, when I looked up these quotes, I realized how close these two individuals were. The story of the human race is the story of men and women selling themselves short. Abraham Maslow believed that because we all had in us the potential for greatness, that we should strive for greatness, that our barrier shouldn't determine where we go and what we do, right? NBA YoungBoy is an example of self-actualization, proof of that. Defeating the odds. Abraham Maslow is an example of that. Defeating the odds. I am an example of that. I grew up right down the street from here in 5th Ward. Single mother. Father went to prison for 16 years. I do not speak to my father at this point. I'm the first doctor in my family, PhD doctor. What is the point I'm trying to make? NBA YoungBoy's quote is, "I ain't never satisfied, but there's a lot more to be done." My point is, each and every one of you are extraordinary. There is something within each one of us that, regardless of our barriers and the cultures we grew up in and what the world tells us, and the world and the climate that we are in politically right now, we may think that we are so far apart when really we are so close together. And I think if we take time to have reverence in that, how close we are together, that will unite us. Religion will divide us. Politics will divide us. All of these other things will divide us, but self-actualization will bring us together. Just like I brought together Abraham Maslow and NBA YoungBoy. Thank you.
Great.
That's great.